live streaming another cat battle shootout, sort of. It was kind of like clickbait, sorry. We're doing a couple little head-to-head cast kind of comparison battles, but the main thing is I'm showing you all the ultralight rods that I've picked up from AliExpress, the ones I may have had before, and then we're going to weed some out. In the process of doing that, we're going to try out the new Calcutta Conquest I just picked up, along with the Zillion with that BFS spool that I also just picked up from AliExpress. And we may go ahead and throw in the Shimano Aldebaran just for good measures, right? So I'm going to switch this around, throw you guys on the chesty, and I'll explain more about what we got going on here. Got off work early, need to get this done tonight. It is supposed to be nasty weather. I'm going to open that garage door tomorrow and look out here. There's probably going to be snow, crazy high winds, and still snowing. So we'll not be doing any cast testing shootouts tomorrow. So I'm going to try to get this one in. If I get this one in, I may end this video, come back out with another video. But I got one planned. I want to compare, basically, I want to do a head-to-head against the Dark Wolf Ultra and the Black Knight to the inches, centimeters, probably just inches, to which one can cast, and we won't be doing a trout magnet. I'll show you what we're talking about down here. Whoa, look at that. So what we're throwing today is this, and this is what I want to do a shootout with it, because I kind of did it, and you could tell that the Dark Wolf Ultra can't quite cast as easily as the Black Knight 2, but why? Is it just the bearings needed cleaned out? So I kind of want to do that video. I don't know if I have time here today, because it is a little chilly out. So it is a little chilly out here, but we're going to try to get them. It's not that bad. So first thing, get them all out here and just show you, you'll be able to get the gist of which ones I am, which ones I'm not keeping, and all that kind of stuff. But let's talk about the bait we'll be throwing for those of you that haven't seen it before. Now I've got just, that's my backup one in case this one I were to lose. But it's basically a 16th ounce, 1.6 or 1.7. It tends to keep losing weight. That's the smallest thing I throw with ultralight BFS setups, okay? So that's why we're throwing this and not a trout magnet. Definitely easier to throw than a trout magnet. Still pretty hard to throw with unless you have some good gear. And this one, let's zero that out. Come on. Yeah, 1.6, it's kind of uneven. So yeah, they're virtually the same bait. But we're gonna tie this one on. And the ones I'm not even gonna do because I just, there's a few of them in here. I'm kind of giving them their last little hoorah before I send them down the road. This rod I do not like. And if you guys were, I just put out a video today, and that's why I'm kind of doing it, because the video's out there today. If you just check out the video I just put out, and you saw me using this rod. And if you can tell, I'll try to bring it by you slowly. The main reason with this rod, other than it's kind of real small and lightweight, but it would be good for creeks and streams, but these eyes are just way too big, way too huge. And the last three are just crazy big, way bigger than they need to be. Then it actually has a pretty good tip on it. But the other downside to this rod, and it is called the fishing blade. But the other downside, and I'm trying to show you guys on the concrete here, I'll probably end up breaking it. Right where it makes its joint, if you can make that out, this part, the solid tip, is too light for the rod. Meaning this is too stiff, and where that bends, so it throws, it just looks weird. It's just not put together rod. It actually feels fairly comfortable, but no, it's a no. For me, it's a no, dog. And then this rod, and only reason really, whoa, they're gonna start rolling off here. That I did that just for the pics. This rod, this is a Toma. It's not considered a Toma, but it's basically the same thing. The tips interchange, if you guys remember it, 6'6", and I think it's briefly in that other video. This is an overall good rod. If you like long rods, 6'6", then yes, this would be a rod you can get, and it's in other videos. But for me, again, it's a no, dog. It's just too long. It's a little touch too whippy. I've come to the conclusion ultralights have to be no longer than 6 foot, but I actually prefer 5'6" or lower. So then this rod is actually the old sort of Lang & Lang, the cheapest one you can get on AliExpress. I just put the tip on my, and it's actually pretty stout. But I don't recommend that rod. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but I just want to have actually rod you would find. I'll try to show out the tip, just overall flex, but it's got, the eyes are pretty good. The overall feel, this part feels good. That is soft touch. It's a lightweight, it's real light. It's very light. And it's almost got more of like a ultralight crankbait rod feel to it, or possibly light, but more like an ultralight crankbait type feel. So I'm keeping that, and we'll use it for various things. Actually, the bait we're throwing would be perfect for it. So you know what? Let's just see what it'll do with that bait, and then I'll talk more about this other stuff. So this will be the first one we're just going to try out, and it actually looks pretty good. Watch the unboxing of this. I switched this, the handle, and then I actually put a true cork knob on it today. I switched it around from the the lingle. So let me put this on, and we'll go ahead and line one up and get a cast going for you guys that want to see. Somebody wanted to see a cast battle going, right? So let's just see what this rod is capable of. And then we'll be able to compare it to one that flexes a lot to ones that don't. Now you have to give me a minute because it takes a minute to, it's easier for me when I switch rods. It's fairly simple, or reels, but when you're switching rods, that can be a chore. So give me 1 minute here. Why switch out stuff? But now the FG knot you just tie on your braid to leader. But this knot right here, and I've tied it for so long, is why I recommend it. The only other knot, if I really want the true, what I feel is the strongest knot possible, and you can look up and watch Mark Zona tie it, the old shark knot. I like that knot, like especially if I was using a straight fluoro, I would probably use that. But this knot right here, I've never had it fail me. I've never tied it on and then went out and felt like it failed me. I've had knots break, and then you're like, when did I, and you can't remember the last time you tied that knot, kind of deal. Yeah. So anyway, if you can see, should cast this pretty good. Now I've set this, I've been out here doing a little testing, not on this rod, on a different rod. So if you can see where I've got the Calcutta Conquest, so the middle, there's a bigger dot there, and we would be almost 3 dots past the middle towards max, close to that. And this should be good. Let me rear into it. I'm just gonna cast it good and hard the first time. Okay, we landed out in the street and I didn't stop it in time. But we're about a foot into the street. If you guys remember, that is, it's probably right at 50 feet. So 1.6 gram bait, crankbait, this little rod and reel set up. Okay, we're about a foot, maybe 2 foot out into the street. And this would make for a good, any of these from this size, as you can tell, it's a good fishable distance. But then the bigger, so yeah, maybe a couple feet. So over 50 feet, 52, 3, I don't know, probably 52 feet. So I'll try to show you the flex like this. So you see how that whole thing is bending? Like right here, if you're watching that, whoa. Watch before it gets into the 2-piece. That whole rod has some flex in it. I call that at least a mid, almost like a full flex rod. Like that's why I consider it like it's a crankbait rod. It just has that crankbait rod feel to it. Oh boy, now I got the line caught up at the end. So, and it was cheap. If you guys don't remember, it was, how much was that rod? 20? I don't even remember now. It was cheap rod, cheap. I definitely recommend get one. So I guess I should start a pile of the keepers, right? Oh yeah, I was gonna just show you on the Tettons. I call the Tettons keepers, as far as if anybody's questioning that. But what I did want to do, so we're gonna keep the 632 Tetton. It's a keeper too. We're gonna put the keepers over here just to get them out of the way. Just to get them somewhere out of the way. You guys have seen them all, right? You got a good view of them. Here's another one I want to throw. I know this looks weird on here. I don't know if I've ever put this head to head against the true ultralight. Just so me and you both can see where does it balance out at. Wow, let's take a gander at that. You guys ever seen a Conquest BFS on a rod quite that funny looking? I haven't. Definitely isn't a match made in heaven. Cork almost matches. It's kind of a rough cork, but I don't know. I don't mind a rough cork look, except that rough. Talked about that in other videos. So if you're questioning this rod, this was like a $20 rod also. $22, I don't know. It's pretty cheap. But just so you and I will know where it stacks up, because then I'm gonna take some of my what I feel are my better ones, and we're gonna cast those also. If I told you I was gonna try to keep this a short video, you'd know I'd be lying. But I am gonna try to keep it within a certain amount of range here, because my fingers are already feeling a little bit tingly. Here goes that knot again. You guys are gonna know this knot as well as I do by the time I'm done with this video. Because yeah, it's live, I can't edit it, so I could come out here with the GoPro, do what I'm doing now, go upstairs, hook it all up, put it on the computer, go through the editing. I'd be here all night, and I can just do this, and you guys will have to bear with me through tying knots, and I won't have to do none of that stuff tonight. Right? It's awesome. If I had a good enough, capable enough Wi-Fi, I'd take you fishing with me live stream on a fishing day and just be like, you want to watch? Watch. So anyway, here we go. This rod definitely a little bit stiffer overall than that other rod, but we're going to see where she'll cast to. Not quite the street, so we might be in for. It's a little breezier. I don't know if you can tell. The wind, when it is going to blow, it's going to blow from our left over here, and it's blowing towards the right. It's like almost directly straight across, so when it does pick up, it definitely can affect your distance of your bait. Well, what do you know? That sucker hit the street too. So sometimes I felt something give. What gave? I think the reel seat was just a little bit. Something was a little loose. I felt like something give when I cast there. Come on, truck, get out of the way. We got serious business going on over here. Okay, so same distance. I can get 1.6 grams this rod. That's why I said I like this rod, because it is definitely stiffer feeling than the true ultralight. You see that bend, how it still flexes, those solid, it's not like as you'll see some of these, it kind of flexes, but then it's a good rod. It's just a good rod. It's got a good, almost like a double flex to it. It's the tip, first 8 to 10 inches kind of have a softer feel, then the whole thing is fairly soft, but stiffer than a true ultralight. I will probably at some point buy me another one of these. Not for this reel. This reel looks weird on this rod. But this rod, it's a keeper. Putting it over with the keepers. Noah wants it to fish with, but okay, let's go to one that I'm honestly still up in the air with. If you guys remember this one, the only reason I think about keeping it is just because it is one of my softest ones, but let's see how it truly casts these baits. I definitely don't want to watch. I want to be careful with this one. This is one that you almost feel like you're throwing it out of your hands every time when or originally when it was dry, but I added a little bit of, I don't even know what you call that stuff. I don't know, like that stuff just to make stuff sticky. I put some of that on it, and it seems to have helped. But this is a rod that, I'll put it this way, if I what I'm trying to talk myself into is buying another one that's shorter, because I've kind of destroyed this one. It came kind of jacked up, and in the process of just getting it where I could fish it, it had some issues. But let's look at that. That actually looks pretty good. This looks horrible. Don't look at that. That is not the way that should have came. There's one out that has a little bit different reel seat. Still has this looking thing, but this reel seat is like a one piece instead of separated, and it has a little bit longer wooden handle. And that's the one I'm thinking about buying, because it's only 30 bucks. I think it's the same blank material, but I'm gonna get a shorter one. I will only get like a 5-foot one or 5'6". I will not get anything longer as light as that rod is. Probably a 5-foot one. It'll be a little creek and stream rod. Oh boy, my hands are getting colder. We're gonna have to hurry up. I'm gonna try this funky rod, and then we're gonna go to other ones. Look at how big I got that loop. That is way too much. So far, come to the conclusion, and if you guys were watching any of the test casting videos we had put out, the distance we're getting, I know I didn't put near as many wraps as I should have. I'm not trying to catch a fish, so 4 or 5 will get it. When I throw through this reel and this reel, now we're on different rods, but basically with this same bait we were getting, this will go almost to the middle of the street, and then this was about where these are going now. Okay, let's go with this guy. Let's just see. Now this one it's pretty soft. I'm gonna try to keep that up a little higher. I cast weird. That was me. Okay, we just hit the street. I'm gonna try to do a whippy whip thing with it. So yeah, it doesn't really matter. Once they all have a little different like feel, once you get a couple casts, and how much you can or can't whip them, but then they all get right there to the street. So I'm pretty much done with that test. If you guys haven't, you have to take my word for it. You probably didn't see it landing down there, but I wanted to try something on. So I don't think it really matters as long as you have one that is close to an ultralight. It kind of comes down to the reel, the spool, not even the reel, the spool that you have, as far as to how easy and the overall distance you're going to get. So still up in the air, honestly, with this one. I'm going to put it in the keeper for now, and I'm not going to cast it, and Jay won't like it. But the Janku, I don't have it in my keeper pile just for 2 reasons, and I'm going to talk about that next, as I put this one in my keeper pile. Because all of those over there that you see, I feel can kind of are soft enough for like creeks and streams. But like when you get into the ones that come with 2 tips, so when you're talking, and I'll separate them out here for you real quick. And I think I've talked about this before in a video. When you're talking the Mavlos Delicacy, the CU Double, the Janku, and the Toma, I think it's just that the main part of the rods, and I'll use the Toma for example, they're just stiff enough, and all of them I got anyway, and I think that may be most of them they start out at 6 foot. I don't think you can get a 5'6" in any of these others. Even this one, I don't think. But they're like 6 foot rods, and then this part is so stiff that, you can take it to some creeks and streams, but in my opinion, there's other rods that are, I guess for me, are better, plus I already have them, which, I'm looking at them right here. The 522 SUL, the Cast King Zephyr, the Rock and Roll, and technically the lure killer, which this is on a different blank, but they're just a funner fishing deal. And so I'm going to talk about this one real quick. Now, I've mentioned it before in a video, and I guess let's just put it together and just try it real quick while we got it out here. So those of you that I guess didn't, because this one, when I was doing the all comparison, this hadn't made it yet. This is like the last one I got. And I want to say, was this the 15 or the like under $20 rod? That this thing just looks and feels good. Look at that. And what you basically have is another Toma type tip. The tip, let me show you this. So here's the Toma that I like, but I almost never throw with the ultralight tip. I don't know if I've ever actually thrown it with the ultralight tip. I throw it with the light because that's what I like it for. So here, the same rod, basic blank. Like if you look at that, and by filling them, now this, I'm gonna try to show you real quick. This feels it's a little lighter, but the tips are the same. So when you put this tip up here even, let me try to do this and show you so you can see. So when you put that even with the Toma that I've talked about that I like, they're even, right? They feel pretty much identical. But what they've done, that they made this one actually is better. This one is, in my mind, better than this one. It's a little whippier. I don't really like that part about it. It's just a little bit softer, which is actually better for little creeks and streams. This one's a little stiffer. But if you can make out, hopefully you guys can see that. I'm gonna try to get you on concrete. They put more eyes on this, which is awesome. Now, they got the first two eyes, in my mind, are still a little bit too big, like I've talked about before in this one. But look how many more eyes they've got on this rod. This was 30 with two tips. This was like under $20. It just, I mean, both these. I think this is still a good rod. 30, 31 bucks. That rod is a good rod. But if you guys haven't, go back and watch when I talked about this video. That's where I shared the link. And it's that one that you got to catch the guy willing to sell it to you. Like 1 minute it's not for sale, it says he can't ship to your country, and then the next minute it is for sale. I just round that line in. But and I've had this one out briefly in a cast test, but it is a whippier rod. So you have to have kind of like the idea of a whippier rod. If you don't want a whippy rod, you don't want this rod. But this one I plan on keeping and using, I don't know for what. Actually, this looks good on it. It would be fine with that. You could put a carbon fiber handle, you know, add a little more black, basically. I'm losing my mind over here. It's got kind of like a metal, flaky, bluish, kind of like what the Black Knight 2. The Black Knight 2 actually looks good on here. So still gotta oil that thing. Needs a little oil. Kind of reminds me of a lingle. So I still recommend this one for about as cheap as you can get. The Tettons, people keep asking me here and there, and I do still recommend the Tetton rods. The downside, which I kind of didn't recommend them for a while, they are more money. You will spend more money, but let me show you that real quick. Even on these rods that I like, even on the John Koo, even on the CU Double, they have good eye systems, but let me show you the 632. The thing that I actually like better, even than just the blanks themselves on the Kind Tettons, if you can make out, and let's try the CU Double, which I consider has real good eyes. It's a good setup. I like it, but look at it, and it's about the same length. This is a little bit longer. But look at how many and where the Tettons and the size they are. The Kind Tetton rods are just, they have littler eyes that are, I think, in my mind, just a touch better quality. I mean, maybe not by much, but they got it right. On my 661, this one, the 522 SUL. Now, I've broke both of mine and doing some crazy tests out here. But, so overall, I still recommend these. The problem is now they're like 65, 70 some dollars. This is 34. same good quality filling, you know. Yeah, it's got the first eye is probably a touch bigger than I would honestly really like, but you know, do you want to pay the, you know, some people don't like these handles, but I still recommend all of these. CU double, we don't even need to talk about it, but I'm putting the John Coup over here. I'm keeping this one. Honestly, the lure killer, I've talked about it in videos. I think I still have a video to edit when I used the regular lure killer before I added the handle. I just don't recommend it anymore because it's another one that was like $25 or $27, but now it's $27 to ship too, so you're talking $50. I just don't recommend it anymore. For the same money, you can get a better deal. Or you just put a little more money with it and get a Zephyr that I like way better than any of them. But the Zephyr is my favorite, if you guys are wondering. Cast King Zephyr is my favorite. The Delicacy, I'm still up in the air with the Delicacy. Charles loves his. I'm still up in the air. I mean, I like it, but I got all these other rods. Like, I like the CU double and this Toma better than I do the Delicacy or the John Coup. And then I like this one still. But my main two for going to little creeks and streams are right here. Those are my main two. Dark Wolf Ultra, Black Knight 2, covered, right? But I got all these other rods, so I will be keeping this guy long. More than likely, the 522 SUL is going to be one of these two, one of the Shimanos, because then that, if I choose the Aldebaran BFS XG, I've got like the lightest combo possibly known to man, BFS combo. Or I could put the other, and let me get these out of the way real quick. So I'm putting these kind of out of the way for right now. These are all my keeper list. So give me a minute. I just wanted to move them out of the way because, and then these, and I'm not saying any of these are bad rods. I'm just telling you that for me, I feel some of these other rods I picked up are better than these. So these will be going bye-bye. I don't know where, to one of my kids, listing them on eBay, breaking them down, trying to sell them as a lot, because it is almost impossible. These rods are only 20 bucks. You can't ship them for that. So trying to sell or work a deal on something like that, like, I don't know. I'll probably end up just getting them worked off to the kids or whatever. So anyway, my basic creeks and streams, this is kind of it for now, but I also have more coming. If you guys remember that Corium rod, and there's another Lure Star, the streamer, that they make a 5.2 ultralight and a 5.8 light. I think I'm going to buy both those rods. I just think I'm going to buy them. So let's see if anybody commented. Yeah, Boost Works, just watched the recent video about that rod you used. Yeah, I just, and I'm still behind. I don't have a lot of videos left. I got 6 or 8 different days worth of videos to edit and get put out during this winter spell. Some, you know, of course, our live streams we'll be doing. Let me shut that off before I run that battery dead. So, and my hands are cold. I was planning on shutting this video off and coming back and maybe doing a shootout between these two to see who would win. But it's hard. It's not an accurate shootout. When I'm out here with my hands cold and I'm hurrying, it just don't work right. So I'm not going to mess with doing that. What I found out that this is just as capable. I don't know if I could tell the difference back when I had the regular spool in this. This feels just like the same kind of way. And I'm thinking that I'll like, and I do need to try that for you guys that are just wondering. We got a couple things to try real quick. Now I probably won't get any more distance. I don't even know if I can get that line back out of there. And if there's one thing I've noticed, what's your thumb, if you guys say you got a big thumb, your thumb will fit right in there. Some people were talking about, like, I got some gappage and I don't have a small thumb. I mean, I don't have a huge one, but your thumb will have no problem with fitting in there. Same spool length, it's down in there, so it looks like a lot, but trust me, you have no problem thumbing this spool. Let me see if I got that off right. Okay, I want to try something real quick, because I was just in there when I was holding it after the unboxing. It was almost on that, like on the 522, I couldn't even feel the weight of the rod, because this reel, not that it's that heavy, but the weight of it and the light weight of that 522 SUL is like insane. You could almost weigh this 522 SUL in this thing. Let me see if it'll, I'm sure it should. Yeah, it overloaded. I think it only goes to 50 grams. But this thing is light, real light. So, let's see what it'll cast like though. 522, the only actual what is called super ultralight, but I call these tips on these two and the delicacy and maybe one more of those other ones, that blue rod. I consider those more like ultralight rods. Those things are crazy soft tipped. And then this guy has a full flex, and I was out kind of doing what I'm doing right now. I was doing a cast test with 10 pounds, and I was doing the old flex and show you what it flexed like in the video, and it went snap. Oh boy, I was upset. I was upset at myself because I did it with the, you know, the rod would have never broke under normal circumstances, especially if you stuck with anywhere near the line recommendations they recommend. I think this rod is only rated for 3-pound test, so even if you went to 6, which is on this right now, the tip, our leader is only 6-pound test, but I have 10-pound line. But let's tie this on real quick, and then maybe the last one we do. I want to put it on the Zephyr. I was kind of wanting to do a shootout. I don't know, there's so many shootouts I want to do, but I don't have enough nice days to come out here and do anything. I got to wait till it gets nice weather again, unless I want to go sneak in some kind of stadium or gymnasium somewhere. School. Get caught for breaking in a school for trying to cast test in their gym. Whoa! That could have been ugly. All right, let's go. Let's go. Who wants to see it? I can tell you right now. Look at that. This is so light. Even with that bait sticking off the end, it's like a balanced. And I didn't add anything to this. It's just that that reel is heavy enough. Once you've got a finger on the other side of it, it counterbalances itself out and works good. So let's see what this little dude will do. Almost the street. I gotta get my feel. I gotta get the feel of it. Uh-oh, about to cast into that Dodge pickup. Here we go. All right, foot into the street, just like all the others. 50 feet, 51 feet. Let me see if I can do any, like, whoa, I don't know what that was. I know it's kind of nice to not have my truck right here in the way. Let's see if I can do any sidearm casting. But yeah, this, with this little cranks, man, this would be perfect for these little, throw it right over by that tree. See if I can hit my truck with it. If you want to see if I can hit my truck, I'm gonna try to hit the back tire. Whoa, it pulled. No, went to the back of the truck. But this will have, I got the other spool coming, if you guys remember, just like what the Aldebaran has. So once I get that spool in it, then baits like this will even be just a touch easier. So yeah, just about a foot into the street with almost any rod I've tried. Like the reel is what seemed to be, you know, this reel goes about a foot or two into the street. It didn't seem to matter the length, the action. Now this, if don't break again. Definitely one of the, it and that blue one, I talked about buying another one that I broke and had to shorten to like 5 foot or whatever. Those are about the 2 softest rods I own. These are about $60 nowadays though, 65 sometimes. Actually the 522 I believe is $80. It and the 662 Teton light are like $80. So I honestly recommend, even though I talk about how good the Tetons are made, that blue rod with those solid tips and the way it feels, I would almost have to recommend it over the Teton just for the cost. It maybe looks a touch cooler. It's not as built as good as a Teton, but it's only 30 bucks. You could almost buy 3 of those for one of these Tetons, so it's hard to justify, you know, that. But yeah, the Tetons are good. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm not gonna mess with these two. I'm gonna try to get out here at some point in time and put these guys to a little bit. They feel so close, and they probably are about the same. That's another one. This one I think was only 40 bucks, and this one was 65. So, you know, in the just saving money kind of thing, it's hard to not get this guy because it goes Black Knight 2 real good. But this Dark Wolf Ultra, everything goes with this if you put an orange nut retainer on it, right? Yeah, something like that. All right, guys, hope you liked that video. At least we got out and you guys got to see the newest addition to Bass and Bonsai. And for those of you that are like, what is that, and don't know, Shimano Calcutta Conquest BFS HG, right? Now you know. One of the best built BFS reel on the planet, for sure, hands down. Not the best all-around BFS reel. That belongs to its little brother or sister, depending on how you look at it, I guess. The Aldebaran BFS. But this is a tank in a BFS world, a small tank. I could put it on that pink rod and call it Tank Girl, like I was calling the Black Knight. I think it looks real good with this, and it, like I said, it goes. You can put this on any rod and make that rod look better. You know, makes for a good-looking combo. Almost anything you put it on. So I'm gonna get out of here. My hands are getting cold. Thanks for watching. Let me get you guys off the chest of you. Ooh, look out! Look out! Hang on. Whoa. Get out of here. Go Bass Bonsai. Thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, I know I'm getting cold. Stay tuned. I'm going to do some videos tomorrow, live stream possibly, but in where it's warm, and we'll be talking about a few other things. I got some other things to talk about. I know. Old Charlie's got a lot of stuff to talk about all the time, right? Yeah. You ought to live around me. All right, I'm out of here. Bye.